now there's a student who wants to dive into open source. So how can they start? What should be like the prerequisites to enter into it? Just like you mentioned GitHub. Yeah.
Awesome. So, honestly, I don't really think there are any particular prerequisites you require, but depending on what particular forte. So, right, some people have an inclination to front end, some people have an
Mm.
inclination to back end, some people want to be a MERN stack. So it depends. It really depends on what you find the best to work with.
In our channel, we are mainly focusing on Python, let's say. So
Okay.
one can start with a language, say Python, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So somebody has learned Python.
Right.
Now, I want to ask you, what is the next step that they can take? Now they know Python. What should they do next?
Right. Right. So let's say you've invested some time into learning about Python. Maybe if you are still a little wary of jumping into an open source project, maybe you can start with a hobby project. Let's say you decide, I want to make my own websites that when recruiters come, I can just tell them, hey, I made a website myself, like coding it out on my own from back end to front end, and you can go visit www.riteshrai.com and
Mhm.
it'll read like I've done all that domain work. So maybe picking up a hobby project like that can also help make you a little more aware about the kind of things you need to do. For example, buying a domain, where to host your server, what to do, etc. Like when that actually has to go to a client, what kind of things you do.
Mhm.
And yeah, B, what it can also do is give you confidence that okay, I I had learned about all of this. I wrote code snippets, and now I was actually you able to apply that knowledge of mine and make some like materialize it and actually make something for people to see. And the third thing I would say is since I'm not very aware about the kind of backend things available,
Mhm.
so there are a couple of things that you can do. A, you can put it out on LinkedIn, or you can put it on any like Medium or something. That okay, I started doing these kind of things, and I want to get more into open source. So if people, if experienced people can help in this particular domain, in this case Python, can help tell
Mhm.
me what is the next step that I can do to, do some sort of an open source contribution, which is closely related to Python, just a little more difficult enough that I have to learn new things, but also not that difficult that, I cannot grasp anything. This is where experience, like people with a little more experience come in, where they can help
Mhm.
guide you with it.
Mhm.
Second, you can also do is now, especially like in this time, there are so many Discord channels, there are so many servers where people do a lot of mentoring, where people help. Like for example, the kind of server that I'm trying to
Yeah,
incorporate.
that's how I
Also has a
reached
lot
you
of
actually. Yeah,
yeah.
I saw your
So that's
post on
also
LinkedIn where you said that you have just started open sourcing, and I thought, why not connect with Akansha and know more about it? So, yeah,
right.
your channel is really helpful. I wanted to know if there's any section for Python as well that you have created.
I've in fact today after this phone call, I'm going to make pods in that channel for
Okay.
whatever languages that people have mentioned, from React, Ember, Python, Java, and some people are also talking about NLP. So I'm just going to
Okay.
make such pods so that whoever is interested in whichever can join them and then interact with other people like in that particular tech stack.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can probably, if we cannot find, let's say, an open source language where somebody feels comfortable contributing, I'm thinking that maybe we can start making our own open source project. Let's say we decide that we want to make, make like a calendar schedule that I can
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, if you've heard about Calendly, which basically helps, it's a website which basically lets you put on, it lets you, it syncs with your Google Calendar, and you can give a link to somebody and they can check in what hours you're free and
Okay.
what hours you're not.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
basically, just make like an R based open source project for that, where
Right.
whoever's interested in backend can pick up the backend for that, whoever's interested in front end can pick up the front end tasks for that, and just make our own semi open source project. If in case we find some languages where there are some people that cannot that are not super comfortable contributing into a heavier open source platform.
Yeah, so it would be great if you can share the link on like with Logic
Definitely.
Keep viewers as well. So anyone who wants to join, and there will be a Python pod as well. So people who are interested in Python can go there and discuss more about it.
We can have multiple different projects also, right? We can have small projects like I spoke about, a website or
Okay.
a small game, but we
Hmm.
can, when everybody comes together and we have one idea, And then people that are interested in Python can take up the backend. People that want to do, database querying can take up the SQL database and things like that.
Okay.
So definitely, if we, I mean, the best thing to do is if, let's say, we cannot find an open source platform where you're comfortable contributing, we can make our own open source project. Why not,
Great.
right?
Yeah. So coming to the project, like hobby project you have created. So I think it would be great if you can host it on some platform, right? Some hosting platform you
Hmm.
can do.
Hmm.
Next thing is you
Like a
can
cloud server, right?
like a cloud server. Next thing is
Hmm.
what you can do, you can put your project on GitHub, right? So that
Right.
way you
Right.
learn more about version control system,
Right.
right?
Right.
You would come to know more about Git, which is a version control system, and GitHub, where all
Hmm.
these open source projects are hosted, and which uses
Right.
Git to manage these projects.
In
Yeah.
doing so, you would also learn how to, like do contributions in a team way. In the sense that, let's say, like I said, if somebody's
Yeah.
managing Python,
Hmm.
you would also learn how you integrate these two together. Because okay,
How
somebody's
you can
make a back end,
collaborate with
somebody's
your
make a front end.
friends. Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Right. So what, like, where is that connection? How do you make APIs? There are so many small things that this will teach you, and
It
I'll
would be
definitely
great
share
if
that link.
people can start in groups. That would be great, and your Discord channel would really help people to get together
Right.
and create a project together. In that way, you learn how you can do work in enterprises where you have a team and you're
Hmm.
collaborating, you're working together. So in that
Hmm.
way, also it is going to help that you are getting enterprise ready in a
I
way.
think for the Logic Heap viewers, I can also create a pod which is like by named of the projects, and you can
Great,
join
yeah,
whichever open, like our personal open source project that you're interested into contributing, and
great.
you can definitely reach out to me. While I cannot guarantee that I will solve all your issues, I can guarantee that I will sit with you and I will make sure that I find somebody that can help solve it for you, or not solve for you, solve it with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
So
assurance I
the
can give
most
you.
important thing is when you are in student life, you only need the pointers, right? And if
Right,
you can help
exactly,
people get going, that's all. That's all students want. So that would be
definitely.
really helpful. Yeah. Wanted to ask one more thing. Suppose, so
Yes.
I wanted to know more about the blogs. If you refer to any particular blogs on open sourcing, like Medium is a wonderful thing, right? You get so many
Right.
blogs. There's towards data science, and there are some very popular blogs where you can learn a lot about open sourcing and data science and Python, whatnot. So there are some
Right.
blogs that you must be following. Can you talk about it? What you are following?
So I don't really follow any particular things, but what I do is that in my preferences on LinkedIn and things like that, I follow certain hashtags. For
Mm-hmm.
example, hashtag open source, hashtag web development, and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
which helps my feed be filtered to post by, which are in line with these hashtags. So that helps me often be a little more aware about the kind of things that other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, I myself am also part of another Discord server, which is my brother's.
Oh.
But right, so he's on a Discord server called the Real Dev Squad,
Mm-hmm.
and there he basically manages what I'm trying to do on a much higher level, and he actually has a lot of good personal projects that you can put on your resume as a hobby project.
One more thing I wanted to ask is when you make contributions, there could be many type of contributions. One could be you are doing bug fixing.
Right,
Second, you may be doing a feature development. Or
right.
sometimes people help in documentation, all these things, right? Are there
Mhm.
any more ways?
Like till now, I've majorly been doing bug fixes, and I also do documentation contribution.
Mhm.
Feature development is next on my agenda, but the whole reason why I haven't started with that is because I want to get more confident that my understanding is so good that I can pick up a feature and I can do it. So most open source platforms have a particular section of issues in their GitHub repo where you can just open and then you can see what kind of issues they are. And based on what you think, maybe there's an issue where their image is scrolling out, and that's a very simple change where you only need to do something to the width, right? You can pick up something like that. It helps, like we mentioned about all the things it helps, and then it also lets you gain confidence that hey, I saw something which I thought I could fix and I fixed it.
Right.
So
So bug fixing could be one way. Now somebody has to pick up bugs. So you mentioned you can see a page where you'll find all the bugs, right? So
mhm,
that's how
mhm.
one can start. You can go to a
Yeah,
particular
so
project and you can pick a bug, and then what? Then what one should do?
Right. So, I mean, the easiest way to start would be to go on the issues page and just picking up something which you feel, is within your domain knowledge.
Okay, okay. You pick the bug. Next thing is people don't understand what to do next, right? You are trying to
Okay.
solve it. Like, what should be the process? Can you like more elaborate it? How you can contact the maintainers? What could be the
Okay,
basis?
sure.
Yeah.
Right. So, let's say, you come across a framework that you want to work with and you come across the issues page and you also come across an issue that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first and foremost step would be to comment on that issue saying, hey, if this issue has not been taken up yet, I would like to, do it. So can you assign it to me?
Yeah.
And once that has been assigned to you, you can fork the repo into your personal account repo, or you can clone it to your local machine. Start running it. I would say take a few days to first understand the flow of the entire, not entire code flow, but let's say you need to make a change to the events page. So take some time to understand the kind of flow that happens when you click on events and you finally are rerouted to the events page and around what you need to fix. Second, then you can start doing is start. So it's basically just a big box containing of smaller boxes, right? Like any
Mm-hmm.
kind of code base is majorly just functions which are boxes that talk to each other into big box.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe try segregating and eventually debugging to a point where you come to your particular piece that requires the fixture. Debugging is also a very important skill that everybody that definitely needs to be learned, and
No doubt.
I'm
Yeah.
also, yeah. The Chrome DevTools is amazing if you know how to use it well, rightly. It's
Mm-hmm.
really good. So I would definitely suggest everybody to take a look on those. They're 5 minutes short clips about each kind of tabs in the developer tools, and
Okay.
I'm telling you, it has saved me a lot of time. Just knowing how to use those debugger tools has helped me finally come down to my issue, because
Mm-hmm.
since from the UI I can see what kind of a function is, the final issue causing particular piece. It then
Mm-hmm.
helps me debug whether this requires the problem, or whether this has the problem and this requires the solution, or I need to go into the backend to do it. So yeah, once you've segregated what piece needs the fixture, then start looking into what you think is the start evaluating what kind of approaches you think are the correct ones, and out of those, which one is the best one. In fact, for this stage, you can also reach out or comment on your like the GitHub issue, saying, hey, so I was looking into this issue and I have these list of possible approaches, and I'm thinking of going with number three because this. What do you suggest? Again,
Right.
somebody will respond back to you saying, hey, maybe not number three, but number two, or maybe somebody might agree with you saying, yeah, number three sounds good, go ahead with it. And then you can start eventually coding it.
And
Review.
there's always a section, low hanging fruits, right? There's always a section of low hanging fruits in every project, I guess, where you can
Yeah,
find
yeah.
easy bugs where you can start upon.
But it's just that the other developers are a little more occupied with feature building and other bigger bug
Right,
fixes, that
right.
everybody thinks that, okay, I'll just leave it for the end. Like, since it's a small bug which people can look into later, I'll leave it late for later. So you'll always have these small bugs which are really easy to do, and you can just pick them up.
People
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
generally that I have, say, 5 CGPA or less than that sometimes. And
Hmm.
then they say, if I want to enter in the software industry, would that be possible even?
I understand why, but out of an open source discussion, just a small personal story I'll tell you is that my CGPA by the end of my fourth year, or like when we are supposed to sit for placements, was 5.96.
Okay.
And I thought it was doomed because most good companies come for CGPAs around 8, at least in my college. And
Hmm.
if not 8, maximum of them, even most companies just aim for CGPAs around 6.
Right.
So the day I couldn't even sit for a placement because I lacked my GPA from point zero 0.04, I lost it because I thought everything was over. I can't get it. And because there's so
Right.
much pressure, it can be parental pressure, it can be peer pressure. I had peers who used to say things like, oh, we know for a fact that even if we don't get placed, you will be with us till the end. Though I know it wasn't meant in like more of a mocking way, it
Yeah, yeah.
really hurts because at that point you cannot do anything to change it. It's done. You can't do anything to that GPA. I think, trust me when I say I resonate, because I've been there. And it really hurt when I saw most of my classmates just saying, hey, आज Microsoft के लिए apply करना है कि उसके लिए apply करना है, and I just
Hmm.
wanted to avoid these discussions because I don't know, I felt very, um कि there's no point of me being part of this discussion where I not even going to apply. I can't apply, and people will only mock me about it. So then I mean, in my case, luckily I had my brother and I told him, hey, I've messed up. And I think one night I just completely broke down and I told him, I kept crying and I told him there's nothing in my life is going to go right and I'm not going to get a job. What am I going to do, etc., etc. And I think that was a very valid fear, especially given that we're all told ki, haan, placements is the end of everything.
Right.
So
The
I
great thing
just
with
kept
you
crying.
is you had your brother with you to console you and to put you on the right path. So you started open
Definitely.
sourcing and everything went really good for you, right?
Right.
So
Which is,
that's
yeah.
that's where I want to help people, and you are also helping in that sense that
Exactly. LinkedIn being, I mean, in my case, because I've worked there and I can say it out of experience, LinkedIn has never asked me for my degree, has not asked me what kind of marks I had. Like, I had to submit none of those documents.
that's a great
And
thing. Yeah.
right, and I think even Google brought up saying, ki, you don't need to, we don't care if you've done 12th or you've done 11th, if you can code, you're in. I think that
Wow.
sometime back they said this announcement.
Yeah.
So good companies, yeah, most good companies don't really care about what kind of a CGPA you have. If you can work, if you know your thing, that's it. That's all they want. One of the reasons why we're also having this discussion is because I realized that both of us want to reach out to, to anybody who's watching this and majorly to college students, telling them that it's okay. It's okay if your CGPA is not what you want it to be, and
Right.
that is not the end of the world. And just
Hmm.
fine, if you think you messed up there, it's okay. There are these particular data structures that you can learn and we can help you learn them, and there are these ways to reach out to other people and make yourself feel good about things. Like I see from our conversations and from your channel that the only reason that you've started is to let other people know ki, okay, college does not teach you these things, I can help you learn these things, and that can help you get better in job placement.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
thanks,
definitely.
Akansha. Yeah, it was really helpful, not just about the open source, everything that you told. I'm sure it is going to help the viewers a lot. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into Logic Heap. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.